Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving into a topic that's both fascinating and thought-provoking. Across cultures and throughout history, virtually every civilization has contemplated its end. We've told stories, built monuments, and even worshipped deities, all centered around the concept of a final reckoning. But what if those ancient prophecies, those whispers of a coming apocalypse, weren't just stories? What if they were glimpses into a future that's rapidly approaching? Here are the top 10 reasons religious scholars are saying that this generation is living in the last days before the final judgment day, a period of tribulation, transformation, and ultimately, transcendence. The events of our time are aligning with ancient prophecies in ways that are both unsettling and undeniable. From natural disasters to technological advancements, from global pandemics to the very fabric of our morality, the signs are everywhere. Join me as we journey through these 10 signs, exploring their historical context, their presence in our modern world, and what they could mean for the fate of humanity. Fasten your seatbelts, because the road ahead is paved with both uncertainty and a profound sense of wonder. From raging wildfires that consume entire landscapes to hurricanes of unprecedented ferocity, our planet seems to be groaning under the weight of increasingly frequent and intense natural disasters. Scientists point to climate change as the culprit, a consequence of humanity's actions. But some religious scholars see a deeper, more prophetic significance. They point to ancient scriptures that speak of earthquakes in diverse places, famines and pestilences, all part of what some believe are the birth pangs of a new age. Are these events merely the consequences of a warming world? Or are they harbingers of a coming tribulation, signs that the very fabric of creation is unraveling? It seems the moral compass that once guided humanity has lost its bearings. We live in a world where self-gratification often trumps empathy, where truth is malleable, and where the sacred bonds of family and community are fraying. Religious scholars point to this moral decay as a clear sign of the end times, a fulfillment of prophecies that foretold a time when people would be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. They argue that this erosion of moral values is not just a societal shift, but a symptom of a deeper spiritual crisis, a turning away from the divine that has left humanity vulnerable to darkness. Is this decline a natural evolution of human behavior, or are we witnessing a descent into chaos, a prelude to a final judgment? From the battlefields of ancient empires to the proxy wars of the 21st century, humanity seems perpetually locked in a cycle of violence and conflict. Today, geopolitical tensions simmer across the globe, fueled by ideological clashes, economic disparities, and the insatiable hunger for power. Religious scholars see in these conflicts the fulfillment of prophecies that speak of a time when nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. They point to the escalating tensions in the Middle East, the rise of nationalism, and the threat of nuclear proliferation as ominous signs of a world on the brink. Are these conflicts merely the result of political maneuvering and resource scarcity, or are they the death throes of an old world order, a prelude to a final apocalyptic war? Chapter 4. Technological Advancements. The pace of technological advancement is staggering. Artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and quantum computing are no longer the stuff of science fiction. They are rapidly becoming our reality. While these advancements hold tremendous promise for progress, they also raise profound ethical and existential questions. Some religious scholars view this rapid technological evolution with a mixture of fascination and trepidation. They point to ancient texts that speak of a time when knowledge will increase and people will travel to and fro. Prophecies that, in their view, foreshadow the digital age and the unprecedented interconnectedness of our world. But they also warn of the potential for technology to be used for destructive purposes, to erode privacy, and to blur the lines between humanity and machines. Are we entering a golden age of technological enlightenment? Or are we hurtling toward a dystopian future where technology becomes the instrument of our own undoing? Chapter 5. global pandemics. The COVID-19 pandemic served as a stark reminder of our interconnectedness, our vulnerability. The virus spread with terrifying speed, overwhelming healthcare systems, shuttering economies, and claiming millions of lives. While pandemics are not new to human history, the scale and impact of COVID-19 have left an indelible mark on our collective psyche. Religious scholars point to this global health crisis as a fulfillment of prophecies that speak of pestilence and widespread death as signs of the end times. They argue that the pandemic is not just a biological event, but a spiritual wake-up call, a reminder of our mortality and the fragility of our existence. Is COVID-19 a tragic but isolated event, or is it a harbinger of a future where pandemics become more frequent and more deadly, pushing humanity to the brink? Chapter 6: Economic Instability. From soaring inflation to crippling debt, the global economy seems to teeter on a precipice. The gap between the rich and the poor continues to widen, fueling social unrest and political instability. Religious scholars see in these economic woes the fulfillment of prophecies that speak of a time when financial systems will collapse and hardship will be widespread. They point to the unsustainable levels of consumerism, the growing distrust in institutions, and the increasing frequency of economic crises as signs that the current system is unsustainable. Are we headed for a global economic meltdown? A reset of the financial order that could usher in a new era of either prosperity or hardship? Chapter 7. In an age of information overload and social media echo chambers, it's becoming increasingly difficult to discern truth from falsehood. Charismatic figures with seductive ideologies are captivating audiences, often exploiting fear and uncertainty to advance their own agendas. Religious scholars warn of the rise of false prophets, individuals who claim to speak for God but whose teachings lead people astray. They point to the proliferation of cults, the spread of misinformation, and the erosion of trust in traditional authorities as evidence of this prophetic fulfillment. In a world awash in competing narratives, how do we distinguish the voice of truth from the siren song of deception? Chapter 8: Persecution of Believers. Around the world, people of faith are facing increasing hostility and discrimination. From subtle forms of intolerance to outright violence, the persecution of religious believers is a growing concern. Religious scholars view this persecution as a fulfillment of prophecies that foretold a time when followers of certain faiths would be targeted for their beliefs. They argue that this persecution is not just a violation of human rights, but a spiritual battle, a sign that the forces of darkness are aligning against those who hold fast to their faith. In a world that often prizes tolerance and diversity, why is religious persecution on the rise? And what does it say about the state of human hearts? Chapter 9: Environmental Degradation. The Earth, our only home, is showing signs of distress. Climate change, deforestation, pollution, and mass extinction are pushing ecosystems to the brink. Religious scholars view this environmental degradation as both a consequence of human actions and a sign of spiritual negligence. They point to scriptures that emphasize the importance of caring for creation and warn of the consequences of exploiting the Earth's resources. They argue that our disregard for the environment is not just an ecological crisis, but a moral one, a reflection of our broken relationship with the natural world and ultimately with the divine. Can we reverse course and heal the planet? Or have we passed the point of no return, hastening the very apocalypse we fear? Chapter 10: Globalization. We live in an increasingly interconnected world. Technology has broken down geographical barriers, allowing for instant communication and the rapid flow of information, goods, and people across borders. While globalization has brought many benefits, it has also fueled a sense of homogenization and eroded cultural identities. Some religious scholars view this trend toward globalization as a fulfillment of prophecies that speak of a time when the world will be united under a single system. They argue that this global interconnectedness, while seemingly benign, is setting the stage for the emergence of a one-world government and a single global religion, developments that they believe will ultimately pave the way for the final judgment. Is globalization an inevitable step toward a more unified and peaceful world? Or is it paving the way for a dystopian future where individual liberties are sacrificed at the altar of global control? Outro: the road ahead. So are we living in the last days? The signs are certainly compelling, echoing through the corridors of history and manifesting in the events of our time. But whether these signs are harbingers of an imminent apocalypse or simply markers on the long and winding road of human civilization remains a matter of interpretation and ultimately faith. One thing is certain: we live in a time of unprecedented change and uncertainty. The choices we make today, as individuals, as nations, and as a global community, will determine the course of our future. Will we heed the warnings of the past and chart a new course, one marked by compassion, wisdom, and a reverence for all life? Or will we succumb to the forces of division, greed, and destruction, fulfilling the very prophecies that have haunted humanity for millennia? Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, please like and subscribe for more content like this, and be sure to share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think? Are we living in the last days?